Co is the Fibre Co's first fancy yarn. What's a fancy yarn? Well, it's also something that's called novelty. But basically, fancy is just a term used to describe a yarn with some sort of special textured effect, like curl or crimp or lofted effect. And knitters really appreciate the beauty that these fancy yarns can have and the texture that gets created. In particular, knitters really like a brushed yarn. It creates a beautiful halo on the surface of the fabric, and sometimes the way the light hits the fabric, it can shimmer and just be really special. How do these yarns get created? Well, fancy yarns come from fancy machinery. And the fancy machinery begins with the core yarn, usually a nylon or could be silk, and then some sort of effect fiber. And then often there's a binder yarn that wraps the effect around the core. Well, in the early days of us milling our own yarns, we couldn't do this. Our machinery was too basic. There was nothing fancy about it, so it just wasn't possible for us. But later, when we started working with partner mills, suddenly fancy yarns became a possibility. So we started talking to knitters about what they liked in a fancy yarn, and most of them would say brushed yarns, mohair and silk or mohair nylon blends were the favorites. And when we thought about it, we said, well, does the market really need another brushed yarn? And what would the Fibre Co's point of view be for that? And we didn't think the answer was another mohair silk yarn. So we thought about it, and when we came at it from the angle of our core ethos and sustainability, suddenly we found the path to creating the Fibre Co's first fancy yarn, Cirro.